Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Channeling a little bit of, what's his name now? It's Penboy Roy there. Welcome to you all on this glorious day. A bit cooler here for me at the moment. It's a whopping 18 Celsius, which is, let me get my Google stuff up, I can tell you that. I know we talked about the maths last time. I'm not any good at maths. 18C. That's 65 Fahrenheit for those who work in Fahrenheit. Been a bit of a hot week this week. We've had a bit of a, well, not a bit, we have had a heat wave this week, which is quite interesting. I was preparing the other day. I'm going to be filming a review of this tomorrow. This is one of the notepads that I got from my wife during Inkvent. It says here it's fountain pen friendly. Well, the day I was filming it on, it was 40 degrees. And I'll talk more about it in the actual review. But the ink, it was drying immediately. So I need to have a look at that. Okay, let's have a quick look through our comments. Let's move the mouse if I can find where it is. Which screen's on first. That usually helps. Right, it's right over on this side. I'm toying with moving my desk around because I've got a big gap between screens. But if I do that, I'm going to have to change my entire recording for setup as well, because I normally have the camera in the middle of my desk, and if I move the screens over, I can't do that anymore. So just thinking about what I can do for that one. Okay, anyway, let's have a look. So, Blonde Scales 1, good evening from Arkansas. Welcome to you. Alia Rose, hi from Pennsylvania. Teresa, hello from North Carolina. Teresa, I've actually found your channel. It came up on my recommended list the other week, so I've actually been watching a number of your videos. Always nice to see other people doing their pen content on YouTube. I think it's absolutely amazing. Ricardo, very early morning from London. I bet it is. That's what. And be a bit warmer. I took a photo on my iPad the other day. I say it was 40 degrees here, and obviously we've got family that live in London. So on my weather app, I do show the temperature in London. It was 40 here, 0 in London. That quite tickled me. So I took a photo to show my wife. Marie, hi from Michigan. Will Hodge, hello, made it on time. Hope all are well. Chris Robinson, good morning from Toowoomba. Haven't seen you in the chat for a while, Chris. Welcome to you. I believe that I'm on the West Coast. Toowoomba, that's more East Coast. I think they're getting the heat wave at the moment that we've had during this week. Oh, it was really bad this week. It was nearly bad enough. I thought about putting the aircon on. Blonde Scales 1, still kicking lol. Aries, series of emojis. Do you know, I'm not good with emojis. Let's see if I'm trying to decode this. So we've got hand, absolutely no idea, and a trophy. Hand, I want to say the middle one's Elmo, but I know it's not. Or is it not Elmo? Who's the one that lives in the trash can in Sesame Street? Well, that's showing my age, isn't it? Is it Groucho or something like that? Anyway, moving on. John, hello from New York. Blonde Scales 1. Yep, Google is definitely faster. I've got that many screens here. I just have to reach over there onto the iPad, which is where I'm actually watching myself. So what I've got here, I think I've described this a few times. I will do a proper tour at some time. I've got my MacBook on its main screen is where I'm running OBS, which is a software I use, so I can actually see what's happening there. That's my real preview, as in live. Then on an external monitor to that, I've got Google Chrome, which is where I'm running the streaming session from. So there, I'm seeing myself slightly delayed. And then below that, I've got my iPad, and that's where I'm actually running what you're seeing. So I'm actually running a live session on there, so I can see, so I know how far behind I am. And then over on my left-hand side, I've got another monitor, and that's where I've got my script. So yeah, loads of things over here. Wool Hodge 65 Fahrenheit is nice. We have gone to needing to. We've gone from needing a oat to needing a boat here in Texas. Yeah, I keep seeing that on the rain about all the weather conditions. Was it something like three things in a week had happened? It was quite. From needing a coat, I can see your next comment. From needing a coat. Blonde Scales 1, we've had rain all day here. I'd love to get some rain, I tell you. Per garden, I mean, I'm not a gardener, my wife is, but everything's brown, and what is it, start of February? So I would think it'd be another good 6 weeks before we get any decent rain. Tom Morley, good morning, good evening, welcome to you. Aries, anyone tried the new Van Diemen's ink, Neptune Blue? I haven't, I've got 3 Van Diemen inks. I've got Apple Island Green, which is nice bright green. Deciduous Beach. I've got Deciduous Beach, which is an orange. Twilight Mist, which is like a purpley colour. And then I've also got Devil's Black, which is, as I say, it's black. BJ, hello everybody. Chris Robinson, yep, we had 38C one day. That's hot for this elevation, 900 metres. D-Town Oscar, that was it. That was the one I was trying to think of.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
And Siri's trying to talk to me as well. Blonde Scales 1 by July will be begging for rain. Yeah, it's always the way, isn't it? I mean, especially where we live, the suburb I live in, I don't know why. It's got to be down to the geography I don't know. Anyway, the topology and stuff like that. But when we get rain, the rain seems to go to the left of the suburb, to the right of the suburb, and we're just in this patch which gets very little rain. It's quite weird at times. Right, any more comments before we move on? So, today's subject is which pen won heat number 3? Let me fetch up Safari and just refresh that so we've got the latest. And then we'll go over to the screen. So here's my browser. I use Safari. And going down, we'll talk about these other polls in a second. Going down again. Down again. So which pen should win heat number 3? Our choice of pens was the Crossbearly Light and the TWSBI Eco. And I'm not surprised by this. By a massive margin, the TWSBI Eco was picked as being the one that wins, and well deserved. I really did think right from the start that was going to be by far the winner. And 79%. If I fetch up my spreadsheet, so this is where I've just plugged the numbers in, so we can actually see that 17 people voted for the Crossbearly Light, and 68 for the TWSBI Eco. So it was very clear margin. In fact, more people voted for the Eco than have voted at all in the previous 2 heats, which was quite interesting. I like it when you can look at these little types of stats. That's full of tea there. So today's mug. Let me switch back to the right camera. Today's mug. Here we've got the Marvel. So black and white Marvel comic drawings there. Let me just close these down. So problem is, because I'm using this on my other monitor, so by doing that I hide all my other screens. So now we can see them again. Yeah, as I say, with these, I wasn't overly surprised. I expected the Eco to win. The Crossbearly Light, it's not a bad pen. It's just, I'm trying to think how best to describe it. It's not an exciting pen to me. Whereas I love the way that the Eco looks. I love the shape of it. I'd love it to be a bit bigger, but that's being very picky. And for what you pay for it, I think it's good value. I do think that Crossbearly is good value. It's just, it's not a pen that says to me, Gary, you've got to use me. Where with the Eco, I've usually got one inked up all the time because they just grab me. And I actually quite like the ink that I've got in here. This is Diamine. Oh, what's it called? Oh, Gary's brain's gone dead. Black Ivy. So it's a very dark green colour. Very nice. I quite like it. So that was interesting. So the other thing, he says, fetching back up Safari. The other thing that I've been doing this week is I've been doing a number of polls. So I've said for a few weeks I'd ordered a Visconti Homo sapiens and I ordered the Dark Age model. So that was posted last week from Tulip Pens in the UK. So it's still working its way. It hasn't arrived with me yet. And I thought, why not try and get some, essentially engagement. That's why I thought, why not ask people to vote for an ink to put in it? So I looked at Google. For a text poll, I can have 4 options. I've now found I can also do an image one, but it only allows 4 options, whereas the text allows 5. So this is why initially, because I'd only found the text one, that's why we went for text. And this was quite interesting. So the first one, here we were looking at red pens or red inks. And I was actually quite surprised at how strong Momiji came in as the winner. I was expecting the Pelican and the Waterman maybe to be a bit higher. So that was quite interesting, that. So Momiji, that went forward into the final. The next day, I did green inks. Again, what I've tried to do is, where possible, only have one representative from each company or each manufacturer. I could have quite happily put all 5 with Diamine green inks, but I thought, no, let's give a nice mix. This is where, when I do this again in the future, what I'm going to do is go for the 4 options in colours, because I think that would be better to see the colour of a swatch. I was going to do that for the final, but then I found that I could only have 4 options, so I had to scratch that. So again, the Pilot Irishizuku Shinryoku, that came out very strongly as the winner. The one that I'm a bit surprised with was actually the Robert Oster Tranquility. I thought that might have been a bit stronger than it was, so that surprised me a little bit. The following day, so blue ink. So again, I tried to go for one from each different manufacturer. The Pilot Blue, which is one that won, that surprised me. Again, I thought that would have been a lot weaker. I was expecting maybe the Diamine or the Noodlers to win. So when it was the Pilot Blue, I was a little bit surprised with that. Yeah, let me just get this out. Sorry, I'm just pulling these out because I've just seen a comment pop up. I want to have them ready. Next up, we had brown inks. So here we've got a very close winner. The winning ink from this I've put as being Robert Oster Cafe Crema, purely because when I took the day after, so I left it 24 hours, and whatever one was in the lead after 24 hours is the one that I put forward into the final. It was Cafe Crema. But if we look at it now, that's changed slightly, so we've got Diamine Chocolate Brown here as being the winner. Now, you can see here we've got 2 Diamines, 2 Robert Osters. I don't have brown inks from many manufacturers. And then the final one was what I call grey or other colours. Again, Diamine Earl Grey, massively, very strongly the winner here. This is where having the swatches would have been handy, because you can see here I've got 2 Van Diemen's, an orange and a purple. Most people, you may not know what they are, so I know that was a little bit of a risk doing that. So this is where in the future I'm going to use swatches. And then we've got the final poll. So this is the one to choose the ink that will be going forward. I'm going to be leaving it still another 9 o'clock, another 9 hours. So 6 p.m. my time is when I'll look and see which one's the winner. But at the moment, by a long margin, it's looking like Diamine Earl Grey is the winning one. So here, these are all the winning ones from the previous, essentially, little heats. And the idea is that when I do my first impressions now for that Visconti Homo sapiens, unless this changes, the ink that will be used is Diamine Earl Grey. I'm going to try doing these again in the future, not for every pen. I just thought it was quite interesting. It was a nice way to get people's ideas on inks. There were a lot of people mentioning inks that weren't in the list. Deliberately, every single ink in here is ink that I have. what would be the point in asking which ink to put in if I don't have it? So yeah, I enjoyed that. Again, why not drop it into the chat or drop it into the comments if you're watching after the live. What do you like about this idea of doing these little polls on YouTube? I quite enjoyed it. And it's a way of, letting people have a say about some of the things I'm doing. I do have another pen. Well, I've got a number of other pens to do, so I've got loads where I can try this. I say though, going forward, I'll use the image one, which means there'll only be 4 options, but at least then you can see the colour of the ink on the swatch. Okay, camera. Let's go through the comments. Chris, I've got Van Diemen's Blue Ringed Octopus. I had to buy a big bottle after I tried a sample. Cerulean blue with a bright red sheen. Yeah, Van Diemen, they are a company based in Tasmania, so it's an Australian company. I think I remember reading somewhere they used to sell Jinhao inks initially or something like that, but now they make their own. And a lot of them are named after things, Australian related. Let me just... let's tweak that laptop. You've got a lot of blank space above me. You don't need to see the ceiling, do you? I'd say I've only got 4 of them. Quite like them. The one I don't really use that much is the black, but that's because I don't use a lot of black ink. Wool Hodge, Aries, saw Mike Matterson did a review of the ink. Looks interesting. Blonde Scales 1, I just want a sunny day on April the 8th. April the 8th, is that Easter or something like that? Is that a special day? Well, April the 8th is a Monday, and it's the week after Easter Monday. So I'm assuming you got something special going down there. Marie, hi, welcome to you, Marie. Let me find the mouse, then I can actually click on the comment. Marie, what does everyone do if they spend a lot on a pen and don't like it and are actually disappointed? That's an interesting question, isn't it? Do you maybe, it's really, was it, even cheap pens I find, it's quite interesting. Would you sell it on? Would you try and return it? If you put ink in it, can you return it really? But maybe selling it on. Is it something to do with the nib? Can you get a nib, either get the nib tuned or get the nib ground into a different grind? Yeah, it's quite an interesting question, that. That's a bit of a conundrum. I know the only one that I've really been disappointed with was the Concolin All-American, the wooden version that I've got. I've kept it. It's been kept because it's a lesson to me that, just because it's a quality maker doesn't mean it's going to be a quality pen. Nothing to do with the actual All-American brand. Someone sent me another All-American, the Courage version. Beautiful, absolutely love it. It's nothing to do with the shape of the body. I say, beautiful, love it. I've got a Jinhao 9056. I've got it here to show you in a second. Virtually the same shape. Performs an awful lot better. So yeah, that's an interesting question, that. Blonde Scales, lost the comment. There we go. The eclipse, 8th of April is the eclipse in going over parts of mainland US. I've been hearing a lot about it. I should have realised the date, because I actually heard Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. They're doing something. I think they're going down to Texas. I think they were saying to do an event there. Yeah, you certainly want a clear sky for that, don't you? Marie, I spent a bunch on a sailor and kind of disappointed. Yeah, I think sailors are quite a lot of money, aren't they? I do keep looking at a Pro Gear, but then when I see the price, I think, nope, not paying that much. Blonde Scales 1, yep, I'm very close to the centre of the line of the path to totality. I've never seen been in a complete complete eclipse. I have been in the path of a partial one, so it's where it's on the edges. I remember many years ago, it was in August, because we were actually on holiday when we lived in the UK. We'd gone to Butlins at Minehead, and there was an eclipse coming through, and everyone had their glasses. And I've got to be honest, I didn't bother going outside because we knew it was only going to be partial. If it had been total, I would have definitely gone out to see it. And I remember sitting there they've got like a big entertainment tent. Well, I'm saying tent, it's a building, but it's just made to look like with a tent ceiling. And just watching it on their big screen, because you saw as much there as you would do if you went outside. And you didn't have the risk to your eyes either. Chris Robinson, it depends on the problem. If it can be fixed, it will be fixed. Beyond that, return or resale. Yeah. So, John, return it, but it's more satisfying to swap the nib and fix it up to your liking. Just going. Return it if possible, from Teresa. Marie, I haven't been able to find replacement nibs for the Sailor. Tom Morley, I have several Sailors from about 2005. Let me just try and scroll down. From 2005, but I don't like Sailor's current prices yet. I think Sailor are very overpriced for what they are. Not saying they're not good pens. I've only got the one gold nibbed pen, which is handy, is it? I know it's somewhere because I've got it out to do a video with. There we go. Sailor. This is the Sailor Pro Grey Slim. This is the only gold nibbed one I've got. There we go. And this is Blue Green Nebula. Bought it because of the material. Bit on the small side for me, but it's a pen I love using. And I keep saying this, one of the nicest nibs I've got. My other Sailor, this is here. I've got this out to record a video with as well. Got loads of pens out at the moment for some videos I've got planned this week. This is the Junior, Sailor 1911 Junior. I think in some places it's called the Compass. So steel nibbed, very small pen. Teresa, I was interested in the eau de Nealing that you showed in your video. So I've just got these out. I've got two at the moment. These are where I store my swatches. So this one is with my want to label things, blues, greens and blacks. So let's get in here and find eau de Neil. They're also slightly broken up into colours, so I've got to find it in the right colour. I hadn't put it in there. Where's eau de Neil? There we go, eau de Neil. Let's swap over to the phone camera because we can get a closer look there. So this is Diamine eau de Neil. This is my swatch of it. So to me, I had it in the aqua section. So when I look at this, it reminds me of river water, like the blue that you see in a fairly deepish river. Definitely not teal. And where it's going there a little bit thick, I see hints of yellow, like the sand that lays at the bottom of a river. So this is what this reminds me of. So as Teresa did mention it yesterday in a comment on one of my videos. So I did say, look, remind me today. So anything like this, just fetch it into these chats. This is the whole idea of them, very flexible. And if I can, like this one, I've got the swatch, so I can pull them out and we can have a look at the swatches. To give you an idea of something that people might... What can we have a quick look at this against? Just going to fetch a couple. So this is Robert Oster Australian Sky Blue. So it's certainly not the brightness that we get there. Let me dig into my blues. Oh, I know, not very interesting watching somebody going through a box, is it? And this is Acid Blue by Diamine, just to give an idea. And let's go for one other. What's one that people might have? Oh, here's a good one. This is Diamine Royal Blue. So it's definitely greener, but it's not got the tealiness. So if I go for Diamine Aurora Borealis, we've got a lot more green in that than what we're seeing here in the Eau de Nil. So hopefully that helps, Teresa. As we go through, I'll see if there's any further, if you put any other comments or ask any other questions. Let me just put this back in the right place. Put them away. Simply Orbs. Hey all, you're never late. You're always on the time that you're meant to be there. That's what I always think. Hi all from New York City. Hi Santa, welcome to you. Blonde Scales 1, yay. Teresa, hey Orbs. Aries, yeah, Sailor fountain pens have become valuable. Simply Orbs, hey there Teresa. Blonde Scales 1, I'm a cheapskate. The most I've paid for a pen was my Gold Spot Mystery Pen, Mystery Dip. I quite often am very similar to that. Obviously, because I've got brain's gone dead. Because I have money coming from YouTube now, I use that to buy some of the nicer pens. Teresa, Garry, have you ever been to Tasmania? It sounds like an exotic place. No, I haven't been to Tasmania. I did live for a few years in Melbourne, but we never actually went to Tasmania. We were talking the other week. Tasmania is, I think, it's the only state I've not been to. So I lived in Victoria for a while when I lived in Melbourne. From there, we went on holiday, to New South Wales, which is Sydney. We actually drove there, so we drove to Sydney, and then we came back via Canberra, which is the Australian Capital Territory. So that's that one I've been to. Been on holiday to Queensland. It was actually Cairns, but still Queensland. Been on a holiday to South Australia. Live in Western Australia, and my previous job, I used to have clients in the Northern Territory, so been to Darwin in the Northern Territory quite a few times. So Tasmania is the only state or main territory that people know about that I've not been to in Australia. So yeah, I will have to fix that sometime. Alia Rose, I'm in the path of totality. Really would love to see a total eclipse. They say it's something you never forget. Blonde Scales 1, cool. Teresa, I saw the 2017 eclipse. Planning to travel to Indianapolis, place beginning with an I, Indianapolis for this year's. Will Hodge, just bought a couple of Hongdian C1 pens, $8 each. Sorry, might get them by the end of the month on a slow boat from China. I'm really impressed by Hongdian pens, I really am. I think my first one was, it was part of the Black Forest series. It was actually, I bought it because of the name. It's called The Light of Hope. And I thought, what an amazing thing. Everyone needs hope, and The Light of Hope, absolutely superb name. Blonde Scales 1 was supposed to have over 4 minutes of totality. John, anything decent in the mystery dip? Retro 51 Barbershop Pearl Pen. I see that I was going to. The next comment is actually going to say what I was going to say. The January 2024 mystery dip was a Magna Carta Denima. I saw Tom Otto on the Gold Spots Tiki Toki was actually doing a video showing it. Was it yesterday or the day before? Alia Rose, I've got the eclipse glasses already tucked away. Hope for clearer skies. Andreas, welcome from a live chat virgin. Welcome to you. Listening while cleaning my study and pens. I do a lot of the similar, obviously not today because I'm actually running the live, but when I'm watching lives, I'm usually doing, tidying up or doing stuff. Just before this, I was actually watching the live that Doug Rathman did earlier on. Because of the time, I generally watch lives on replay rather than actually as part of it, which is a shame because I'd love to be able to get in with some of them. It's mainly time zones because it's very awkward here. The only one that I might be able to, or may at some time have time-wise a chance to join would be Hemingway Jones's. But the time that he's doing it, I'm usually busy recording my videos. So that's another one where I normally watch on catch-up. Blonde Scales 1, got my glasses too. A Musset, Marie, which sailor nib did you get? I've got a Pro Gear with a music nib, and it's lovely. Andreas, thanks for the great buying tips. Somebody mentioned, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, in a comment about where I get my pens from because of the prices I quote. They're also in Australia. They were saying the prices that I quote are very, very good. And they also asked if I can do a video about how I go around my process of buying a pen. So it's something I'm going to think about. The only problem with it when I'm buying a pen, I thought, could I do this as a live? Actually, go do my research as a live. But sometimes I can spend up to 2 to 3 hours looking into pens because I go, digging into reviews about them, reading about them, looking at images, looking at different online retailers, comparing prices, and working out shipping, and so it's quite a complex thing. It's not just I see a pen and buy it. So I'm trying to work out how to do that. I say it might be something I'd do as a live, maybe when I've got end of March. I might be looking for another good quality pen. Because that'll be like 2 months of YouTube money I can bank together to get a reasonable one. But I'm not sure because I was going to look at getting another handmade pen. But we'll have a think about that. Maybe it depends how I go. Again, drop a comment, drop into the chat if it'd be something maybe if I did it on a live stream and we actually did the research together. Is it something you'd find quite interesting? That maybe might be worth thinking about. I can do a lot of my research or some of it beforehand and leave the bulk actually do on a live stream. Again, let me know what you think about that. Marie, I got a Sailor Pro Gear. This is a word, and I deliberately why I won't buy one of these. A Wancher, 21K medium nib, feels very fragile. That Wancher, I have to be careful with that because I want to pronounce it something completely different, which for a lot of people would have a very, very different meaning. That's why I won't buy actually one of their pens, because I get worried that I might be talking about it and come out with something extremely inappropriate without actually meaning it. Alia Rose, O'Donnell is very similar to Birmingham Penco Ohio River. Blonde Scales 1, the Ritmer is heavier than I expected, but that cap click is satisfying. It is. It's quite a heavy pen. You can really feel the weight of it, and I like that weight. Sorry, mouthful of coffee time. Teresa, O'Donnell is very nice. I'll be getting a bottle, thank you. No, that's what I'm here for, is to show what I've got and hopefully help people if they need to know some money. Not some money, if they need any info. Tom Morley, Simply Orbs, hello. Gandalf said, from Teresa, a wizard is never late. He arrives exactly when he means to. Exactly, that's the way I look at it. Chris Robinson, yeah, Tasmania is a bit different. I worked with the guy I worked for a while when I was in Melbourne. He was from, I think it was Launceston, which in Tasmania. And yeah, it was quite funny, some of the things. He was very scared about a lot of Tasmanian people. Simply Orbs. Hi there, Tom. Lost the comment. There we go. Miss Marilyn Darling, welcome to you. Simply Orbs, sorry, on iPhone can't tag. Simply Orbs, hello, MMD. Aries Aurelian, like button works. Yep, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Just helps with the YouTube algorithm. That's what they tell me. I don't know if it does or not. AM Musset, Marie, do you mean the nib feels fragile or the pen? Miss Marilyn Darling, hi Orbs, hi everybody. Hi from Blonde Scales 1. AM Musset, do you own a Grail pen or will the Homo sapiens be your first? So, Grail pen wise, I do own a Pilot Custom 823. My most expensive pen up until I got this Homo sapiens. Beautiful pen, absolutely love this pen. It's inked up with, what is it inked up with? I think it's Diamine Tobacco Sunburst at the moment. I tend to always use brown inks in this. I'm going to challenge myself and use a different coloured ink sometime. But at the moment it's brown ink in there. That's inked up for a video I'm recording tomorrow. That's why it's over there. That's on my pens. I've got loads of pens out there for some videos I've got planned. Looking forward. So this Homo sapiens is definitely my first. What I'm going to say is a real Grail pen. I've been looking at it for years, at least 2 years, and been thinking, like you do. So I'm just hoping it doesn't let me down when it arrives. Tom, hello, MMD. Will Hodge, look at Franklin Christoph, great pens and can get a tuned nib of your choice. I've looked at a few Franklin Christoph pens, and again, though some I do intend to get. What puts me off is the postage. This is the problem. It's not so much the pen. The pen's a reasonable price, I think. It's just the postage. Blonde Scales 1 with a K instead of the C, lol. Yeah. Miss Marilyn, Doug said he talked to the people behind that word and said it was totally sounded like the naughty way. I laughed. Yeah, I saw that earlier on and I was thinking, there's no way. I can just imagine what YouTube would do if you started talking about it like that. You'd soon get kicked off. Musset, is a Ritma heavier than a Kaweco Brass Sport? I don't have one to compare against, but I would think it will be. The Kaweco's not the Kaweco. The Ritma is definitely a longer pen. I can't remember the weight of it. Let me just pull up. Where are we? Monteverde Ritma. Just pulling up my database now. I can tell you exactly how much the Ritma weighs. So, weights and measures. So the total weight is 49 grams. The weight of the body is 34 grams. I'd say, unfortunately, I don't have the Kaweco to compare against, but you can Google that. But I would say that there'd be very roughly, I would expect the Ritma to be more heavy. Miss Marilyn Darling, hi to Tom. Just bought a new pen today, the Saint Pen BBS AdMock M800. Yeah, I saw Doug showing that. They look quite interesting. I may have to look at one of those for myself because I like my Pelican, but I haven't got the M205, which is small. So it'd be interesting because Doug was saying that looks virtually identical to a Pelican M800. So yeah, it'd be interesting. 7 thumbs up. Yeah, keep hitting them thumbs up buttons, people. Thank you. I must say, quite a big step up in price between the 823 and the Homo sapiens. I hope it will please you. So do I. The only reason I'm getting it is I had a bit of a windfall. And then Cult Pens also had it on sale. So I was able to get it for under 1,000 Aussie dollars. It's an awful lot of money to spend. It really is. Blonde Scales 1. Can't speak to the brass specifically, but my Ritma feels heavier than my AL Sport. So hopefully that will help a little bit. Musset. I tried a Homo sapiens and almost bought one, but I exited the store with a Sailor Pro gear plus a Lamy 2000 instead. The Homo sapiens was nice, but this particular nib didn't talk to me. That's what I'm worried about with buying, anything that you're buying over the internet. You can't try it out. And unfortunately, where I live, the nearest fountain pen store is about 70 kilometres away, which is about 45, 50 miles. And I've only been in there 3 times. The woman in that shop is the rudest, most ill-mannered woman I have ever met. And even if that was the only place in the world where I could buy a fountain pen from, I would go without. She was so rude. And that's 3 times, so wasn't a one-off. So unfortunately, I have to go and buy things over the internet. I won't go in there and try a pen and not buy it. I'm not that sort of person. But yeah, she was so rude. Next nearest fountain pen shop, I'm guessing, would be either Adelaide or Melbourne. But you're talking like 4-ish hours flight. That means it's a lot of money to go just to buy a pen. Blonde Scales 1, having fun playing with a Ritmer. Teresa, Amok has a Schmidt nib, but is $50. I'm assuming that's $50 US. I do like my Schmidt nibs on my Bennu. I think that's very nice. Chris Robinson, my purchase today was another Jinhao 80 and some Lamy 1.9 nibs. They'll be interesting, them nibs. Alia Rose, the Schmidt nib alone runs 25 to 29 USD. Una, hopefully I pronounced that right. Please let me know if I don't. Hi Gary, are you a nib swapper? If so, what are some of your most successful swaps, especially between brands? It's something I've recently started doing. So here, this is my Jinhao 9056. The nib on here is a Kiwi Pens medium cursive italic number 6 nib. So I've just got really into swapping nibs. Another one which we'll have a look at earlier, Pen BBS 323. Hated the nib that came with it. I'll talk about that in a second. Now I've got a Goulet Yoho nib on there. So yeah, I'm just playing around with that and quite enjoying it. BJ, the Brass Sport 48 grams. So they're very similar in terms of weight then. Thank you, BJ and Blonde Scales 1. Alia Rose, I know, I'm not saying that it's not a good buy, just more than we usually pay from AliExpress. Yeah, this is something I'm finding is I'm spending more and more on AliExpress pens than I ever thought. They do seem to have gone up a lot in price lately. So let's swap over and we'll go to the iPhone view whilst I blow my nose. So pens I've been using this week. I'll come back to the comments in a second, because I see there's another one already there. So some of these pens will be out of ink. The first pen, I only ended up using this on Sunday through to Tuesday. This is a handmade pen, beautiful pen. Pens by Casey. This is a Mukuzai 13. It's got a 1.1 stub in it. This is now being cleaned out. Ebonite fittings, ebonite lining. Very nice pen. Not a cheap pen there. It's about 400 Aussie dollars. His pens are individually priced because it depends on the material, depends on what you want with it. Well worth getting in touch with Casey though. He sells through Facebook and Instagram. My next pen, again, I think this has been, let me just check. Yeah, I cleaned this one out. This was the Pelikan M205. Piston filling pen. This here, although you can't actually see anything, is an ink window. It's just too dark. You can't see anything through there. So I never know what the ink level is. So when I swapped this out to be my pen for my reply on my comments, I thought I'll get a few days out of it. It ran out on the first day. So this was the Pelikan M205. This has got a steel nib. Beautiful nib. Very nice nib. 199 Aussie dollars. So Quite nice pen, bit on the small side there. So then I swapped, and we've got a pen with a little bit of ink in. Don't know how much longer, because the ink level is getting quite low. There's the ink window there. This is the Narwhal School Kilt in Paul Peter Navy. Piston filling pen, we've got the ink window. This one's got the Narwhal nib. My other School Kilt isn't inked up at the moment, but I actually did swap the nib out on there, so I've got a Yoho nib on there as well. So this is a Narvaleur School Kilt. It's a medium nib. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Ruby Blues. Price for this, 92 Aussie dollars. Do like this ink. Not sure if it'll come through on the camera. Got a nice red sheen coming through there. Next up, we've got the Bennu Talisman. This one, virtually out of ink again, so hopefully there's enough in there to write. This is Dragon's Blood. Only Bennu I want. I do sometimes look at some of the other ones, but they're just too in your face, too blingy for me. Whereas this one I think we can get away with. I do love the green and the red. So we got here, hopefully I say it'll write. Bennu Talisman. Broad nibbed. The ink is double checking. I know it's a Diamine ink. And it's Best Wishes. I can't remember if it was all the best or Best Wishes. Best Wishes. Price for this pen is not cheap. It's, where's my thing? 230 Aussie dollars. But it is a nice pen. This ink, again, we should have a nice red sheen to it. It's got like more of a tealy type background with a red sheen. And occasionally I will see some blue shimmer, but I find the shimmer doesn't perform very well in this pen. So that goes into the clean out cup. Next up, we've got a Japanese pen. So this is actually bought from AliExpress. Originally I did think it was Chinese, but then I was corrected. So this is Japanese. This is the Natami Inception. Very nice. I love the colour of this. So we've got here a Natami Inception. It's got a fine nib. The ink, this is where we were talking earlier on. It's Diamine O'Donnell. And this pen is 26 Aussie dollars. What I like with this pen, the body's actually faceted. So it's not a round body. It's got, you can actually feel it. Not sure if, try to capture this in the light. So we've got there stripes, like stripes with the faceting going down. Beautiful. I love the colour. I love the shape. Would like it if it was a little bit bigger, but I'm being very picky there. Up next, we've got a Moonman or Mahjong. This is the P136. Another piston filling pen. Another pen here. Not sure if you can actually see them. But we've got little stripes there, like clear stripes. That's the ink window. Nice size in the hand. Nice width. Very comfortable pen to use. Mahjong P136. Again, it's a fine nib. That's one of the things that puts me off a lot of Mahjong pens. Nib choice is just not there. The ink, Herban or Urban, Eclat de Saphir. And I know there should be little lines going around somewhere. I'm just not very good at remembering that. And it doesn't have it on my notes because my notes has just got the English alphabet letters, not the accented ones. So this is 37 Aussie dollars. Do like this. What I found with this ink on my note paper that I use for my videos, it feathers a lot, and I'm not sure why, because it's a fine nib. Up next, another pen virtually out of ink. Might get enough for one more go with this. Might not. This is the Kaweco Sport. So this is the coconut version, and I've eyedroppered this. You can see the ink there, where it's laying on the sides. So we've got here Kaweco Sport. Beautiful pen. When it's posted, very nice. It does feel a bit thin, that's the only downside. We've got a 1.1 stub in here. The ink is by Robert Oster. And it's Grun Gilt. I keep wanting to call it Grun Green. I know it's not. And I've written these the wrong way around. So yeah, it's definitely Grun Gilt because that's what's in my notes. These are 41 Aussie dollars. I do think these plastic Kaweco Sports are very good value. There's some nice pens. When they're capped, there's next to nothing to them. They go in your pocket easy. My second favourite pocket pen, my first favourite pocket pen's going to come out in a couple of pens' time, so I won't spoil it. But yeah, very nice pen. Next up, let's just move this up. We've got the Majon M600S. Beautiful colour this. It's like I keep on calling it teal, but it's more blue than teal. Just love the chatoyancy, the way that the light plays on this material. It's very nice. This one, it's another cartridge converter. Again, not a lot of ink in here. This is a use me up month. So the whole idea is I'm using up pens. So I want to try and run them out. I might get another day out of this, hopefully. This is one, this actually, going back to the question asked earlier, this is another one. I have actually swapped out the nib. So the nib on here is a Kaigaloo long blade knife nib. And quite a mouthful of a nib there. Not as pronounced as I'd like to see though, so that's a little bit disappointing. But it's alright. Will we? No, let me just prime the feed. Oh no, let's risk it doing it over here. So I've pushed that converter all the way down. Has that pushed enough ink to let me write? No. So can't demonstrate that one. So that one into the pot for cleaning. Oh, 2 pens to clean now so far. Next up, my favourite pocket pen. Pilot E95S. Yes, a little bit longer than what we saw with that Kaweco Sport. Still beautiful pen. Very nice looks. Gorgeous posted. A little bit thin, but I find that with all pocket pens. And it's got a 14 karat gold inlaid nib. Gorgeous pen to write with. So this is a Pilot E95S. This is one of those workhouse pens that I could quite easily have inked up all the time. Medium nib. The ink is by Lamy. Part of their Crystal series of inks. And it's called Topaz. So it's like a brownie ink. Works quite well though with this burgundy. Price wise, let me check my notes. $195. One of my cheapest, in fact, it's my cheapest Japanese gold nibbed pen. And it's by far one of my favourite pens. Then the final pen. Sorry, choking today. This is the Pen BBS 323. This is the brown aluminium colour. I think it was called Lungo or something like that? It was like a coffee named colour anyway. Aluminium. Cartridge converter. Loads of ink in this one. Nib on here is one I've swapped. So again, this isn't the Pen BBS nib. This is a Goulet broad nib. The Pen BBS nib that it came with was a fine, and I will be honest with you, I did not like it at all. I've just put this nib on here before I filled this. Oh, it's beautiful. I love this. So nice. So we've got here a pen. BBS 323 with a broad nib. Beautiful line. The ink is by Robert Oster. And it's Cafe Crema. The pen, 53 Aussie dollars, but then you're talking, $15 to $20 more for the nib. But to me, it was well worth it. I really enjoy this now. It's an unusual shaped pen. It's a nice colour, it's a brown colour. And the nib, wow. And if we look at this ink, you can see loads there now. Where we've got like browns, we've got yellows. Really nice combo. So that's the last pen of the week. Let's go on over back to the camera. I'll just scoot back over. I could do with a little track to run my chair along. So they're the pens that I've been using this week. Let's go do another quick scoot through the comments. Loads of comments today. It's brilliant. I love this. Musset, I had an accident with my Nakaya body, so I put the Nakaya nib in a stipular 0.22. Ricardo, if Cult pens sold Nakayas, I would buy one in a flash. I do like Cult pens, one of my favourite stores. I would say more than 70% of my international purchases end up coming from Cult pens. Andreas, I really wanted a Homo sapiens oversize and was slowly saving up for it. I saw the Visconti looking east and had to have it. Now I'm scared to use it. Yeah, I think that's a problem, isn't it? When you spend a lot of money on a pen, it does make it, and that's one of the things I need to get through my own head. Part of me is saying, I'm only gonna use it in the house. I'm not gonna take it out in case something happens. But then, what's the point in having a pen if you're not going to use it? It's one of those really difficult questions, isn't it? Blonde Scales 1. I put Robert Oster $10 green in my Ritmer. Oh, that sounds nice. Jinhao number 8 medium nibs are quite good. Excellent for upgrading. Chinese pens that only come with fine. Excellent for upgrading Chinese pens that come with fine and extra fine nibs. Yeah, downside with Chinese pens, I say, it's that nib choice. I've only got one number 8 nib with a medium. I find it's very dry, so I'm slowly working on it. I'm working on the tines at the moment, so what I do is I make a change, then I play with it for a few days. So yeah, but I'd say with that 323, swapping that nib, wow, made such a difference. Will Hodge, the Ahabs are great for swapping nibs. They've got an ebonite feed that can be heat set. Yeah, I think Miss Marilyn Darling has mentioned a few times in the past about Ahabs and the nibs and the feeds on those. Is it the Ahabs? I know Miss Marilyn Darling's on here already, so maybe able to comment. But I think it's the Ahabs that are quite often in the currently inked pens that he does. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Miss Marilyn Darling's videos, again, well worth doing. Musset, to Ricardo, I bought my Nakaya over 10 years ago. Nowadays they cost so much. Isn't that the problem? How much things have gone up? Biggest problem I find with it at the moment is exchange rates. The exchange rate is just stupid. Teresa, got to go, got a phone call. Thank you, Teresa, if you've seen this on the replay. Blonde Scales 1, take care. Andreas, Pens by Casey Pen is so beautiful. Absolutely it is. There was a question on the Fountain Pens Australia Facebook page the other day. We had a one of the lottery games here was called the Powerball, and it had this $200 million thing. And somebody said, if you won the $200 million, what pen would you buy? And people were putting all these Mont Blancs and whatever, and there was me. I would go to Pens by Casey and buy a load more wooden pens because I think they're really nice. Teresa, see you on next week. Bye to Teresa. Ricardo, yeah, I see them starting at 650 British pounds from Iguanas. Wow, that's a lot of money, isn't it? I don't know. I say it was bad enough trying to spend the money I did on that Homo sapiens, let alone more than that on another pen. BJ, looking at a Benoob talisman for my next pen. Absolutely love the talisman. Very nice size, nice shape, nice writer. Only thing which puts me off a lot of the Benoob pens, they're getting expensive, but they're also so blingy. That's the only downside. Blonde Scales 1. Love my talisman, Miss Mallorin Darling. I got the Yoho Nin housing for the Mahjong P136, and I love it. It's perfect. Do you know that on Doug's video this morning, he was talking about the way things can be pronounced or mispronounced. This is one where I struggle with Jowo. I know you've got to have that funny thing with a J, but I don't know why. I just can't get my mouth to say it properly. So a lot of people do make comments about it, and I do apologise, but Yoho is the nearest I can get. And I just don't know what it is. I just cannot get myself around that word. BJ, every Schmidt and nibbed pen that I have writes well. I've only got the one which is the Benoob, but I've seen a lot of people saying the same about that the Schmidt nibs seem to be quite good. They just don't seem to have the impact of Bock and Yoho. Tom Morley, the same. Marilyn, same. BJ, I like the look of that pen BBS in brown. Yeah, I did. When I was looking for them, when I saw that, it just jumped out at me. I do, tend to use brown inks in it. I haven't used it hardly though because I didn't like the nib. But once I've swapped that nib, I swapped it for that broad, really enjoying it. And that might be one which you may see more often in my rotation because I found it a lot nicer. A Musset, the pen BBS is really nice, and so is Cafe Crema. Yeah, Cafe Crema is one of my favourite brown inks. I've got Robertosta Cafe Crema and Diamine Tobacco Sunburst. They're the two that I tend to alternate between as being my favourite. They're both right up there. Aries, you only live once. Use your finest Grail pens. Absolutely. I say it's a mental thing. I've got the same with the Custom 823. Is the thought of, well, if I take it out and I drop it, or if I take it out and put it somewhere and someone walks off with it, you just got to get your head around that. And sometimes that's easy to do. Sometimes, not so easy. BJ, use your nicest things every day. Absolutely. Because if you're not using them, what's the point in them? Aries, a Musset, absolutely. Marilyn, definitely you can heat set the nibs in the Ahab. Marilyn, yeah, this is what I'm saying. I don't know what it is. My mouth just does not want to go around it. Yovo. I sometimes sit in here when I've got nothing going on, trying to pronounce it because I want to get it right. BJ, it's your show, Gary. Just say things the way you want. Yes, I know what you're saying there, but to me, it's important to try and pronounce them as well as I can. Just don't call it Joe Wow. Yeah, definitely with you on that one. Blonde Scales 1. I thought a green ink and a brown Ritmo would be a good combo. Yeah, this is something, again, I need to force myself to do is use more complementary colours. So I tend to, brown pen, I tend to use brown ink. Red pen, red ink. I need to try and get away from that. A Musset, Noodle is golden brown, is a wonderful brown too. Again, after this, I will add that to my to-buy list. That's it, you've got it. I just need to keep practicing now. It's important to be accurate, absolutely. And again, so you don't confuse people, completely with you on that. And I do try as much as I can. Okay, let's get the keynote fired up. And being an influencer, it's important. It is because when things aren't named correctly, really, really, really bugs me when I'm watching somebody else's videos. I can't give you an example because if I give you an example, you know who I mean, and it would be very rude to do that. But there's one person which calls a whole colour series something, and whenever I go and look for what they call it, I can never find it. And it really pisses me off because I want to go and buy that pen in the colour that they showed, and I can't because they didn't call it by the right name. And I don't know if what I'm ordering is correct. Really pisses me off. Sorry, I'm on my high horse now. Oh, that's the tea finished. Spider-Man water jug comes out. Got lime cordial in there. This is my morning water jug. I've got one of these for the morning and I've got another one for the afternoon. So I make sure I get 2 litres of fluid in through that each day. Okay. Marilyn, lol, and exactly. Okay, let's go over to the screen. Last week's videos. So Sunday we had Tournament Heat 3, so we've already looked at that. This was the Cross and the Twisby EK. Tuesday's video was my wrap-up of January's pens. I was a bit surprised there with the pen that came out of the winner. When I went into the month, I tried to have an idea what I think there might be, and the order was fairly similar, but the winning pen was definitely not what I thought. Friday, so that was the introduction of February's Pens in Use, which is a Use Me Up month, and February's pen case. There we go. I'll show it big on the camera because I'm proud of what my wife does. This is my pen case she's made me. This is a Doctor Who one. We've got a different material for each month this year, so you'll see plenty of these. And this is one where we've now got the lining in, and I do feel that protects the pens a little bit more. So we're playing around with that. Saturday was a 2-video day on tricky little questions. Which is yesterday. Oh, hang on. I don't know what I've done. I've messed up there. You can ignore the bottom one. That was from the previous week. So Saturday was a 1-video day. Tricky little questions. Why is there no centre of the universe? This is a really hurt my head a little bit getting my head around this one. The idea is that somebody asked, where's the centre of the universe? And the answer is everywhere and nowhere. So the universe is so big we can't imagine how big it is. Is it infinite? We don't know. But there is a boundary to which we can see, which is the visible universe. And because it's visible, it moves with the person who's observing it. So at all times, you are the centre of your visible universe. But somebody else, they're also the centre of their visible universe. So the universe is the same, but it's different because it's visible. And by moving, by going into a different position, you're still taking that centre with you because you're the centre of what is visible, and the visible amount doesn't change. But at the same time, there is no centre because we don't know how big it is. And we don't know how much of the visible is overlapping, so there is no actual centre. But at the same point, everywhere is a centre, because if you go back to the way the Big Bang was, and it, as I say, it hurts my head. Well worth going to watch it though. It's quite an interesting video. I don't know why that last one, I must have forgot to take it out. So next week's videos. So today we've got heat number 4 of the fountain pen tournament. This is a Jinhao 9056 and the Ranga Santa. 2 fairly different pens, so quite interesting. On Tuesday, I've got first impressions for you. Chris mentioned one earlier. My first impressions is of this. This is the Jinhao 80. This is the black version. One of the Inkvent gifts from my wife. Friday, we've got an ink comparison, looking at 2 red inks. And then on Saturday, tricky little questions. We've got a quiz, so 10 true or false questions. I love doing them quizzes. I'm really enjoying them. And then books of the week. So I finally finished Terry Goodkind's Chain Fire. Seemed to go on, but I really enjoyed reading it. So I finished that a couple of days ago. Then I started Terry Pratchett, Witches Abroad. I love the witches. And the thought of Granny Weatherwax and Nanny Odd going abroad or going foreign parts is quite interesting. So they're now, where I've got to in the book, they're on their way to Genua. And they're just now going under the mountain on the river after leaving the dwarfs. Really enjoying that. So let me close that out. Gone back to the camera. Close that down. So, what books are you reading again? Why not drop in the comments, drop in the chat? I'd love to get to what Terry Pratchett. I love Terry Pratchett. This is a reread. I've already read all his books once, so really enjoying it. Marilyn, you do your best. That's all we ask. BJ, nice case. Absolutely. My wife's so talented. I say we started off and we're making little changes to the way. I know there's one of the things she's going to do this time. What we've found is when this is tied up, the top flap sticks out a bit. So what she's doing at the moment is looking at how she can reshape this so that when it is wrapped up, it's flat rather than sticking out. I know it's only a little thing, but it's important to her. We're also looking at the fastening mechanisms. So at the moment we're using some ribbon. What we're going to try doing is, what she's going to try doing is putting a loop on it with a button and see about that. So we've got different things that she's trying. Blonde Scales 1, right names are important, but we also understand that correct pronunciation can be tricky. This is why I often say with people's names, if I say it wrong, please let me know how to say it so I can try and correct myself. I know growing up, well, even now, my name is spelled Garry. My surname is spelled Eves. At school, teachers could not spell my name right. I've had, when we were in the UK, there was a council, with the council taxes, couldn't spell my name right. Really pisses me off. I know it's a little thing, and I know it's happened all my life, but it's important that you get things right like that. And I know, back from this one in the UK with the council, they spelled both my surname and my first name wrong, and they sent me the council tax bill. I sent it back saying this person does not exist, not known, and I wouldn't pay it until they put my name right, because I kept saying to them, that's not me. This is my name. This is how you spell it. If you can't spend it, and I was really, really nasty about it at the end, because to me it's wrong. So again, I've been on my soapbox a lot today. Chris Robinson, the centre of the universe is in your head. It is. It was really interesting researching it. And although it's ended up, it's about a 6-minute video, I've had to cut so much out. It was really interesting. BJ, blessed with a nice caring wife with skills. Tell her we also appreciate her and her work. I will do. I do keep working on her, saying, why don't you come and just stick your head and say hello, but she won't. BJ, limey nibs pop right onto those 80s. Yeah, somebody was saying that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get some limey nibs. I did see some, again, more Chinese nibs, but they did like a variety of stubs and stuff. So I thought I might get them to try on it. Blonde Scales 1 is reading the Otbo incident. Is that a certain... I'm trying to think. Otbo incident. Why am I asking? I've got Google. Otbo incident. Otbo. I like to see what people are reading because it gives different ideas. Oh, that sounds interesting. Oh, I'm just being nosy. Blonde Scales 1, I get mine mispronounced. And always have to pronounce it. I do. Whenever I ring anybody, I say it's Garry, Garry, Eves, Eves. It's so annoying. I say, I know it shouldn't wind you up, but it does. Okay, so that's it for today. Let's just check. Are there any more? It's a Western that they based the movie on. Yeah, sounds quite interesting. I read... My primary thing that I like to read is fantasy. Absolutely love fantasy. Have done for years. I first read The Lord of the Rings when I was about 14. Actually, that's a funny story with that. It took me about 3 months to read the first 100 pages, and then I went through the rest of it, the entire trilogy, in about another 6 weeks. But that's really got me into fantasy. I have been reading crime, so over the past few years, every so often I'll read some Agatha Christie books. I'm reading them in order, and I haven't read any for a while, so maybe I need to do that. Recently, as I say, I've got back into this Terry Pratchett reread. I just enjoy them. They're nice light books. You can dip in and out of them. Don't have to read them in any particular order. I'm just deliberately going through them in the order they were released. And then I'm also been going through the Terry Goodkind books. So up until Chainfire, they were all books I'd already read, but I reread them because it was many, many years ago. So I've been rereading them. I've now got to the books that he's written that I haven't read. So that's going to be quite interesting. Alia Rose, it took me forever to be willing to pop up to my husband's podcast. Your wife will in her own time. I just let her know. A Musset, thank you for the stream. Did you enjoy the Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time? I did. I really liked them. They were one of the books that the date was released was the day I bought it. And then when it went to Brandon Sanderson finishing them off, really enjoyed them. Blonde Scales 1. My dad read The Lord of the Rings to me and my brother when we were in elementary school. Yeah, again, Lord of the Rings, I must have read it about a dozen times now. It is one, I just love it. And, I love the films as well. The one I really like, the film, I think it was from the 80s. They only made part of it. It was actually an animated one. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that. Marilyn, love Agatha Christie. Love her Miss Marple. Yeah, I like the Miss Marple ones and the Poirot. The ones I quite like is there's two of the sub characters. There's Tommy and Tuppence. It's like a married couple. They're really interesting. I find them quite humorous. And I also quite like the Harlequin ones. But with them ones, I think you've got to think a bit more about it. They seem to be a bit more, I don't know if cerebral's a word, but you have to think a bit more. Any more comments? Another good fantasy series, if you haven't read it, is Catherine. I've read all the Catherine Kerr ones. I've even read the ones that she, like Polar City Blues, that weren't within that. That one, it was another one where you had to, because of the way it jumped around in time, although it was the same person and who essentially was immortal, and you were jumping around in time a bit, and he was re-encountering the souls or the spirits of key players, and they had to put right some kind of ancient wrong. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Blonde Scales 1, we'd welcome her to the stream. Tom Morley, yes, the animated Hobbit was great. Alia Rose, the animated Lord of the Rings, it's so odd it was. It's been years since I've watched it, but I can just remember that was actually my very first experience with Lord of the Rings, was that. And yeah, it just tickles me that it just seemed to end. The one thing I wish they'd had in the stories, or if they, I tell you what, the one thing I'd love them to make either a series or a film about, Tom Bombadil. I think that would be quite interesting. BJ, thank you for bringing us together. So how long are we going? Oh, I'm going to be in for a telling off. We're up to an hour and 20 minutes. So thank you all for your time. Hope you've enjoyed it. I love doing these. Highlight of my week some weeks. I tell you doing this because to sit and to be able to chat with people. Ricardo, I'm bidding farewell. Yeah, good night to you. It must be 8 hours, so nearly 2 o'clock in the morning in London, I think. So thank you everybody for joining me. Don't forget, hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel so that you can get notifications and new videos as I release them. Don't forget, we've got membership available. I keep reminding myself I've got a note to mention about membership. So membership's there if you're able to support the channel. Everything that comes in through membership, through the adverts that YouTube serve, that all goes in so that I can actually buy new things. So, from that, I'm going to be filming this sneak peek. It's a pen I'm going to be filming this week. This is a Just Turnings pen. Only arrived the other day. This is Brooks Blank's Elven Wood. We've been talking about Lord of the Rings. I love the elves. That's my favourite fantasy ones, and I've been after an elven wood pen for a long, long time. So here it is. I'll be doing my first impressions on that during the week. The other thing that I've got on the way, again, bought with channel money, I finally bit the bullet and I hit the buy. So hopefully sometime during the week, I should become the owner of a Lamy 2000. So looking forward to that to arrive. So got loads of, these nicer pens to do first impressions for. Not sure when I'll be able to schedule them into being released, but look for them coming up in the next few weeks. And that's, I said, the contribution from members, the YouTube ads, they all help with that. Tom Morley, thank you to all. Thank you to you. Chris, thanks to Garry and everyone. Miss Marilyn Darling, I didn't even know they had an animated series of The Lord of the Rings. Alia Rose, Tom Bombadilli is not safe for work. Absolutely. Blonde Scales 1, have a great week. Marilyn, thank you so much. Appreciate you doing these. Never apologise for... You'll never wind me up. I'd rather people call me out, and I'd rather we have a laugh. To me, the more we can make these fun, and the more we can get banter and comments going, that's so important to me. So I love when Miss Marilyn Darling, or anybody is doing things like that, because to me it just adds to the fun of what we're doing. Miss Marilyn Darling, thumbs up. That's awesome. Let me do one last refresh. Are there any more comments? So that's all the comments. Thank you all. I will leave the chat open while the outro plays. So thank you, everybody. And I'll talk to you again soon.